this year has been kind of a wacky year, especially with the winter. It's typically, generally, our winters, our coldest months are January and February. And here we are fishing in February with Captain Greg DeVault. And it's chilly in the morning and dry. You can tell the humidity's not here yet. But by the afternoon, it warms up pretty quick. And it throws the fish off how you're going to attack them because they're not in the typical spots. Greg and I have been friends for 20 years, and we guide in some of the same zones, especially out in Louisiana in the summer. But I've always known Greg DeVault to be a taskmaster. And when I'm fishing Pasco County, he is considered the standard there. He is the guide that everyone looks to be successful. So having him on the bow of the boat was guaranteeing myself a lot of success in every way.
If you go straight, kind of where that, there's like a second ripple there.
Yeah.
It's deeper there. The one thing with these fish is, especially on this tide, they're usually always together.
Get right here in the brown spot, and then we'll cast.
Is that one land? No, it's oysters.
One on that edge there, though. I just saw him turn. Yeah,
yeah,
right there.
Right there.
He's after yours. There's two of them.
There's like 3 of them.
Yeah, he's after it.
Got
it, baby. Nice.
Whenever there's more than one.
I was like, he was hungry.
I thought I saw one there. I wasn't sure.
Well, once you sped it up, that was the key.
Yeah, they chased.
He was all about it then.
I didn't see this one. I saw his buddy.
I'm gonna just get on the edge of this little sandy spot and power pole down for you.
All right. He's not that bad. He's not one of the big ones,
No,
but
that's
he's a good
nice
one.
fish.
Yeah.
Oh, sports coaster.
Any of them are good when you're trying to catch them.
Yeah, that's right. I couldn't agree more.
Come here, buddy. Come on, settle down.
But he feels pretty chilly.
He's not bad. He's cold. He's still hungry too.
Little slim slims. Yeah. Nice fish, bud.
Yeah.
Good, Greg.
Not bad at all. He looked bigger in the water.
Like you said, a bite.
That other one with him, I think, was a little bit bigger.
Bite's a bite.
Yeah.
Oh, is he playing nicer or what?
I know it.
Fins up.
He was posing and everything.
One of the tactics that I like to utilize quite a bit when you're talking early spring, late winter, and this was such a weird time, is you can't really use Ned rigs because they're almost too small and too slow, but you can't use 4-inch paddle tails either with a lot of success. So there's a couple of tweener baits that you can use. And some of those tweener baits were actually the 3-inch slim swims. It's kind of like the 3-inch minnow from Z-Man, but it's a lot thinner. It's a lot smaller profile. The wiggle's a lot tighter. It doesn't roll as much. And it allows us to use some lighter jig heads and fish real skinny water and still have a lot of success. So one of the spots that we tried about mid-morning, the tide was slowing down a little bit, but sometimes you can increase your opportunity by fishing these neck down zones where you can get a little bit of wind and the tide, what little tide there was, in the same direction. And because Greg's a local guide, he knows where the fish are going to be.
There we go. I think it's a jack.
Yep. Nice fish though.
Yeah.
Respectable one. You always count on those to warm up the drag washers.
Look
at them all coming.
Those aren't jacks.
Those are reds.
I know.
They cleared them out. I'm gonna throw to those guys real quick while you're having fun.
Yeah. It's all right.
They going back in?
No, we're good. Look at this right in front of me. Look at these redfish. Oh, look at them all. That's the ones we wanted. That's all right.
I'm gonna get up ahead of them.
Look at them. Golly.
That's a good jack.
Yeah. I always like to catch stuff, but I kind of wish he'd have held off it for a minute here. Ooh, chilly.
He thought maybe we could catch some of the redfish in this creek. But what he did not count on was the fact that there were some pretty hungry schools of Jack Crevalle in there, and there were as many redfish as that we could see in the mouth of that canal. We could not catch them for the fact that those jacks were they were ravaging every minnow in the creek. And we were throwing those little small 3-inch slim swims, and we couldn't get past them. These areas, when you visit, I always like to say, if you go to the Sports Coast, you're gonna be happy whether you catch a lot of fish or not. And the reason I always say that is the fact that between the eagles and the ospreys, the dolphins, the manatees, I mean, there's so much to see there. And it truly is one of the most unspoiled areas along the west coast of Florida. And for me, I just enjoy going there, whether I'm going out of the Anclote River, or if I'm going out of the Cody River, or even if I go to the northernmost reaches of Pasco County and fish out of Hudson. I mean, you're gonna see some stuff that you typically would never see in metro areas like Tampa Bay.
There's a fish, that's a good one. Better one, I'll say. He's coming at me. I don't know what it is.
It's a redfish.
Yeah, he's not as big as I thought he was. He's bigger than what I've been catching. That's the difference.
It's that time of year. I'm gonna go ahead and put us down,
all right,
because there may be a few in here.
Yeah. He's bigger than the ones I've been catching in here.
Making a good account of himself on that lightweight gear, though.
That first run, he must have been going the other way when he hit it. Come here, buddy. The best part about fishing with someone like C.A. is, in my line of work, I don't get to fish with a lot of people that fish very often. So when I'm on the boat with C.A., I'm on the front of the boat, which doesn't happen very often. So it means I'm the one fishing. I'm not the one controlling the boat. I'm not the one putting the boat where it needs to be and all that kind of stuff. We just, you know, it's a fun day for me. I get to fish, and I get to, you know, whenever you're on the water, you always learn different things no matter what you're doing. So, you know, it might be a way he ties a knot, might be the way he approaches a certain point that I wouldn't think of. So it's a fun day fishing. It's a relaxing day.
When you're fishing for species, especially trout, current is everything, and that's the horizontal movement of the tide. Not so much the tide heights, but the horizontal shift of water moving back and forth. because that is the stimuli that get the trout to feed. So being able to take advantage of the middle third of the tide when you have the most horizontal movement is quite critical. Yeah, buddy, they want white. Digging.
Yeah, he's digging. Yeah, it is a trout.
It's a nice trout, dude.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Stay on now.
A slab.
That one hit it a little better when he hit it.
Thumped it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he ate it.
That's a winter trout.
Yeah.
That is a winter trout there.
Come here.
Wintertime trout here on the Sports Coast.
There we go.
Wow, a hefty one.
Good one there. Yeah, he was eating it.
Yeah, he was gonna get all of it, huh?
He did. Right in the roof of his mouth.
Well, at least he wasn't gonna get off.
No.
Yeah. Even with you holding it, it looks big, dude.
Well, they're all happy with their fins up. Come on, don't get shy now. There we go.
Nice.
Cool. That notch in his tail.
Yeah. Like another trout bit him.
Yeah, something took a bite out. Cool.
Good job. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Fishing back here in the back.
Better.
All we lack is a snook.
I know it.
And
We've seen
with
them.
the Raymarine saying it's almost 69 degrees, that's well within the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
One of the secrets to making baits work better, artificials, especially when you're fishing zones that are inundated with a lot of bait fish and guides that throw bait fish, is to change the rhythm up quite a bit. But by keeping the bait tight to the bottom with a slow, steady retrieve, but making contact with the bottom, that was key. That was key in us catching redfish, and it was definitely key for us catching trout, because those fish were laying flat on the bottom and we were fishing some deeper holes in many cases, and if you did not have that slow, consistent cadence and keeping that bait making contact with the bottom, well, you weren't actually fishing anymore. You were doing nothing.
There's a fish.
All right, here we go. Power pole down, keep your balance.
You got it. Feels like another trout.
Man, if that's a trout, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
One of the really, I guess, cool features of sea trout is the fact that these fish are beautiful. They have that iridescent purple and green back, and they are freckled like no trout you've ever seen. They don't look like that in Alabama or Mississippi, and they darn sure don't look like that in Louisiana. But West Coast Florida, I mean, those speckled trout, they are picture perfect.
This is my best one. That's nice. Big old fish there. You know, typically, as you know, in the summer, trout usually will school according to size.
Yeah.
But it seems like this time of year, especially in these back creeks, you'll get them mixed up. You'll get some 15, 16 inchers, and then you'll get these like this, that are 20 plus.
Every bit
Yeah.
of 23.
And big old fat, they're getting ready to spawn, so they're starting to get a lot of egg weight. In the wintertime especially, we get a lot of negative low tides. We get the big winter lows that everybody always talks about. And what happens when that water disappears from the flat, it pulls those fish together and pulls them in there. And that affords you the opportunity to get in there with a jig, and however you want to catch them. For the most part, the water's cold, it's usually a jig, but you can catch them on top waters, you can catch them on jerk baits. But it gives you kind of an isolated area that the fish stay in, and they can't get away from you because there's no water. So as long as you can get to them, whether you have to walk to them or if you've got a very shallow draft boat like we did with the Marquesa today, and we're able to push into them and just set up on them, you can just catch fish for hours until the water comes back and fills up and they leave.
In today's episode, Greg and I really focused on the trout there on the Sports Coast. And some of the equipment that we used was kind of varied, but the rod and reel combo that we employed the absolute most was this little setup right here, which is a 7-foot medium light. And what I mean by medium light is this rod bends deep into the blank. It doesn't have a lot of backbone to it, which is important when you get those violent head shakes from those trout on top of the surface. And remember, trout have a paper soft mouth. So it's important to be able to mitigate that with a softer rod. So this is the Falcon Clearwater. This is one of my signature rods that I use quite a bit. I paired that up with a Stratex CI4. This is the 3000. I know it looks small, but I love the weight of this rod. I can make hundreds of casts in a day of artificial fishing without ever getting fatigued. Now, the bait that we used is a little bait called the Slim Swims. This is a new size. Typically the Slim Swims is a little over 2 inches, but this is the 3-inch size. It's kind of that tweener size that I was talking about on the boat. The Calico Candy, which gives you that shrimpy look, it's that nice deep orange and red with red flake and a little black pepper. It kind of looks crustacean-like, but it also swims very much like a minnow, and you can see all the action that you get on a tail like this. Now, Greg was not happy with the 1/10 ounce jig head, so he opted for the trout eye jig head quite a bit to throw on this particular bait. Gave him a little bit more casting distance. I told him he'd have to be a little careful because that's a little stouter hook. But as long as you're using 8-pound braid and we were using 15-pound fluorocarbon, you can spank those trout with that setup. So this is as simple as it gets to have a lot of success. There he is.
Oh,
Right on the bottom. Right on the bottom.
There he is. Oh, golly, I missed it.
Yeah, I had one drop. I dropped the last one.
That osprey got him one.
Oh, look at that. There's more than just one good trout fisherman in here, huh?
That one's a little better there, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a nice fish.
Yep.
Try to bring them around. This is the best one we got.
Yeah. I missed one twice. Yeah, that one's a little better.
I just don't want to make the noise and spook them. This is a real good one here.
Mm-hmm. There's one.
Golly. I mean, I don't know how you beat this for having no tide. I mean, I'll show everyone where the tide is. It's crazy. This has got to be a 21 or a 22.
Yeah, that's a good fish back in these little holes.
Creeks.
This one feels about the same.
From the alpha fish. The water's cold.
Mm-hmm.
God, look at the size of those trout. That is a meathead there. And I'm just using that little trick shots.
Cold water's why they don't quit.
You've been wearing me out on numbers, but the ones I do catch, Greg, they do matter.
Yeah.
That is
size matters.
1,
fishing, right?
2. That's got to be 21 inches.
Yeah.
At least.
So this one's probably 18.
Yeah. Those are some big fish.
Yep.
You know what? You showed us basically a Sports Coast bounty today. I mean, it was truly unbelievable. I mean, we catch 2 fish this quality this late in the day. I say we just call it. I think we'll
Time to go find some grub.
Yeah,
ourselves.
Whoa, off he goes. Or I should say off she goes.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a fantastic fishery. I'm envious of you guys getting to work here.
Yeah, it's a, the whole area, it's growing, the population is growing and our numbers are growing, but, with the help of everything that, the county, the state, and everything's doing with our fisheries, it's, we're in control of it. And we've got, just miles of shoreline along Pasco County that just have all these creeks and little holes, and this time of year, they're full of fish.
I know, and you're less than an hour from Tampa.
Yeah.
And I mean, the fishing is so good here.
Yep.
I mean, you can see it today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, many of these fish won't even make it to the final edit, I'm sure, but I think we put them up, and I think we roll.
Cool.
For me, Pasco County or the Sports Coast is a pretty cool zone, regardless what time of year you go there. In fact, I would say probably April and May are some of my favorite times to fish there. Not because of the trout fishing, which is so prolific in the wintertime, but because snook fishing and cobia fishing is literally some of the best you'll ever experience all time. They've got a fishery there with southern stingrays and those cobia swimming behind them that is just unmatched. No one has that in that 2 to 5 foot depth. And it's all sight fishing. It's beautiful. Plus, they have their share of tarpon too. Don't discount that one bit. Well, I'd really be remiss if I did not thank Captain Greg DeVault. He's just one of those old school type guys that does things the old way. Even though he's not that old, he's probably barely 50 years old. I mean, he definitely is old school. And spending time with him on the boat and learning some of the little nuances of the fishery there on the Sports Coast, well, that to me is priceless.